enjoyed watching this video and would love to stay up to date when I have more content like this or something similar that you may be interested in, please like and subscribe to this channel and click the bell so you get notifications. And I hope you have a great day. Thank you for joining us today on what I've called the staging session. We're going to talk today mostly about why home staging is very helpful for home sellers when selling their homes, especially when you get the home sold faster and for the most money possible, and just what goes into staging home and things like that. And so to help us with the staging session, we have Maureen Costello here from MLC Designs. She is the managing partner of the staging company MLC Designs Incorporated. She has 17 years of experience in the home staging field in locations such as Michigan, Pacific Northwest, and Ohio. So thank you, Maureen, for being here. We greatly appreciate that.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. So basically, for the first question, for people who don't know, what is home staging exactly?
Okay, it's a process of preparing your house to go onto the market. And what I do is I come in, if they are living, there's two different ways you could do it. It can be an empty house, then we're bringing everything in, or otherwise the home is occupied. I come in and we declutter, we depersonalize, and then finally we come in to decorate it and make it a finished product for the customer. So to go on
Okay.
to the market.
Okay, great. Yeah, it sounds like you definitely a full staging company, not just bringing in the furniture, but also starting from the beginning of the process.
Yeah, because sometimes it could be too different if they're living there in their furniture or it's completely empty, you know.
Okay. And what is the biggest reason you would say homeowners should consider staging their homes for the purpose of selling the home?
Well, for sure, it sells it faster. Stage homes sell 30 to 50% faster. It's this is from the NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and it can sell for 1 to 10% more money. So having it not on the market as long and then more money. So it does pay off, you know.
Okay. And would you agree that home staging is effective for most price points, not just luxury homes?
No, we stage homes anywhere from 85,000 to 3 million. And I believe all of them need to be staged because that puts them in the best light and you start out. Um, we've had a lot of people where they wait to stage and then call us 3 weeks in. And so you want to always put your best foot forward. So it's the first step you should first do when you're going to put it on the market is staging. So yeah, we've had a lot of people come and they tried it without, and 95% of the people look on Zillow for their house, maybe even before they even contact a realtor.
Right.
And those pictures on Zillow are crucial. They had a survey and it's like 13 seconds before they click onto another house. They'll do a save or then they'll go to the next house. And so those pictures have to look good. That's the first impression your house is going to make online. I mean, there's Zillow, there's Redfin, there's realtor.com, there's many sites, but the pictures are crucial. Just looking at an empty house, all you're looking at is floors, the walls. There's nothing to determine even what room you're looking in, so it doesn't even define the space. And it doesn't give them any kind of depth or anything that they for the room. So it's sort of just not a very good way to present the house right off the bat. It's much better to stage it.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, I've had plenty of buyers, they look at a home that's empty and they think the rooms are too small. And then when I give them the measurements, they say, go home and they say, oh, it's the same size my room's now. But I didn't think about that because I didn't see
Yeah.
anything in there to see that my bedroom would fit and all that stuff.
Yeah, different size beds, full size, queen size, king, and having an empty room. Yeah, it almost makes it look smaller because you really can't tell how big, even seeing it in person, not the pictures. Yeah, they can't tell what size bed they think, oh, well, all I can fit in is a twin. Where yes, you can get it queening, easily. So that's spatially it helps.
Yeah, and I mean, would you say that, of course, the kind of furniture you use for that for the space makes a big difference too, because the wrong
Yeah,
furniture can make it look smaller too, right?
yes. I'll give a point into that. Like there's some small houses we do, the little ranches and stuff, and you cannot put big furniture in there or it crowd the whole entire room and make it look small. When we do smaller little ranches and stuff, we put mid-century furniture in. It doesn't take up as much space, and you can see you can have a sofa, you could have the coffee table, two chairs. But if you put great big furniture in, it makes the space look much smaller. So yes, it's the house and the furniture combined to make it look right. So,
Okay, great. And you already talked about the percentage of homes that sell faster for higher price and stage and stuff like that.
yes.
And yeah, I mean, I definitely agree, because it's sometimes definitely I've experienced where seeing the furniture there when you're
Mm,
ready to write an offer versus everything's gone, you're
yeah,
looking at things differently more, or more particular in what you're looking at. But sometimes you feel like the home is more updated too, based on the furniture that's in there versus.
right. Yeah, because then you don't have, I hate to say this, like grandma's oak table that definitely makes the house look older. You know, you want to bring in new items that are current right now. And that right there upscales the house. You're not having a 30-year-old kitchen table. And even if the house was like updated, that furniture can make it look older,
Yeah.
so updated furniture will appeal to more people, you know. So I have seen that happen where and that goes along with the partial stages where we bring in newer items so that the house looks presentable, you know, because some furniture can date it, you know, and you don't want to start out that way, you know.
Right.
Yeah. Well, when they have to think, when it looks older, then they're thinking, oh, well, other things are going to be old in it too. And so if you can update the furniture right there, you handle a lot, you know, not even changing out the light fixtures, you've already upscaled it. So
Yeah, light fixtures, I've definitely seen it for sure where it makes a big difference because,
it does. And
paint
that's,
and flooring in a
yeah,
bedroom are the main things, and then the light fixture is like,
yeah.
does it.
Second, and any hardware on like the kitchen cabinets and stuff. Just doing that can update it, with making it look current, you know. So yeah, that's one of the things. Paint's the cheapest, and then the light fixtures, and then hardware, and then just make sure it's clean, So
Yeah, yeah, that sounds like a basic thing, but yeah, sometimes you just clean it up. It can do a whole lot.
yeah, yeah, it can, and it and usually people they're it's a stressful situation anyways when they're selling a house, whether it's good or bad. If they're going to something beautiful like condo in Florida, it's still a stressful situation. So it's better to probably hire some cleaning people, one less thing you have to do, and that is one of the steps involved. It's like when I go in the process of we're going to stage a house, I have to see it first. Then we send them the proposal. Then my next thing of order is, okay, have it cleaned, and then we come out and stage, and then they need the photographer in, and then when they're going to list it. So in that order, and having somebody else clean it is much better because they're the list of things they have to do, preparing the house. It's one less thing for them to do, you know.
Yeah, and I mean professionally clean versus them cleaning a lot of times is a big difference too. So
Yeah, because if you have professional cleaners, they'll know, you know, I mean, and that's even like cleaning the refrigerator and, all that stuff, that you don't even think about because they could open the refrigerator,
I was
yeah,
gonna say a lot of times they
and
do
see if
open
it's
that
working, what it
refrigerator.
looks like, it could happen, and you don't want like, it to look real dirty and food splattered and stuff. So, yeah, I do recommend professional cleaners, and even the carpets will look better. Don't have to replace them, just get them cleaned, so there's different steps
Yeah,
to
and
make
like
it look
another thing
great.
with the refrigerator, even though like okay, you can get your own if you don't like this one, blah blah. A lot of times they
Yeah.
open it, they want to check if the ice is working. And then,
Yeah.
I've had one
Water.
appointment a couple weeks
Yeah.
ago where she hadn't been there in a while, and it came to find out that this bad smell was just some food that had been there forever. And
Yeah.
if you didn't think of it, you say, "What's wrong with the house?" So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's one of the things though I do tell people. It's another sense that when they're going through a house, like having in the primary bath, smell of lavender, where it makes them think of a spa
Oh,
and smells like in the kitchen. Yeah, I'm sure you've heard the baked cookies kind of thing, but even like a candle with some food group, vanilla or cinnamon, it brings out another sense to people when they're going through a house that they don't think about. And maybe like in the laundry room, fresh linen, so there's things that you can do to process another step in they're going through the house, yeah, you don't want bad smells. But if you like trigger some emotions to them, you know, that helps as well, you know.
yeah, that's a big point. I remember my broker would say something about even if you just make the kitchen smells like, there's
Yeah.
cookies in there baking. It's
Yeah. Yes, it's amazing that, well, it just stirs up emotions again, that they don't even think of. It's just sort of it happens, but it does. And that's another thing why I always have the table set, not maybe all six chairs or something, but at least two, so that they can think, oh, they can visualize we could have a party here, we could entertain, because you want them, that's some of the thoughts that they go through when they're looking at a house, particularly the kitchen. Can we entertain here with the family? So staging is also like telling a story. Yeah, can we entertain here? I'll have something on the breakfast bar and stuff, place settings and stuff, um, like a reading nook in the primary with a book and glasses on there and a throw and some pillows. Again, telling a story that they could just sit there in the afternoon and read a book. I sometimes have office spaces, and we try to put an office actually now because of COVID and everybody working from home, that if there's a four bedroom and they don't have a designated office, one of those bedrooms is going to be an office. So, and then we might put a little, if it's a big space, put a little play area where they could visualize, oh, okay, I could work here and the kids could play there. Again, telling a story that you could do both things in this room. Trying to think other thoughts, but that's some of the things we do. And yes, the office is important, so if there are more bedrooms and we can use one as an office. So
yeah, I definitely agree with that one. Everyone needs a home office now.
yeah, they do.
Most people, at least, I'll say.
Yes. I think it helps, then they can visualize, oh, a lot of people now do not need four bedrooms, you know, and so can they do with it other than, a bedroom? So
Okay. And I think you kind of talked a little bit about it, but how else do you decide what the theme for the staging of the home should be
Okay,
on?
there's like, I do have criteria, because I'm looking at the age of the property and whether it's traditional, contemporary, mid-century, different styles. And then I also look at the city because that's real important. And the age of the property, what it's near. And then when I'm looking at it too, for my staging purposes, especially if it's a realtor based, the paint color in each of the rooms, because I need to coordinate things with that paint color if they're not going to paint. You know,
Mm.
I recently did in Ann Arbor, the living room and everything was light green. So I went with it and it looked beautiful, so, but you got to work with it. You can't just say, okay, I'm just going to put grays. It wouldn't have worked. So realtors are a different thing compared to when we work with a lot of investors who flip. And the
Yeah.
investors flip it's all a neutral palette. You got gray floors, possibly gray walls. So it's all neutral. But realtors, we're getting houses that they're not going to paint all the bedrooms. They're, you can recommend, but sometimes it's just they don't want to do it. So then I've got to make it look, you know, with that color that they have in the space. So
Yeah, that's a good point. So I work with investors and regular homeowners, and we do have to be specific on the colors on the
yeah.
paint. Realize too, because I've had some who don't consult me, and they say we paint it, but it's the outdated paint color, so it makes it look
Yes.
outdated. Or I
Yeah.
had someone painted, he flipped it and he painted all the rooms blue, and it's just like, why was it blue?
Well, and talking about grays, there's a lot of different grays out there. You can have a blue gray, you can have a purple gray, can have a green gray. And yes, I've consulted a lot of people that do decide to get the professional painters in, at least for the main level. And that's another thing I would like to talk about because there are warm tones and cool tones. And just painting it doesn't mean it's going to go with all the other colors in the room, like with the cabinets. The one home that I told them they needed to go, and I usually use Sherwin-Williams, but it doesn't necessarily mean they have to. But they still had the oak cabinets, and you don't want to put gray with the oak cabinets. It would bite it. It doesn't look great. It was more a warm cream that they painted, and it looked phenomenal.
Good.
Uh, Paint does make a difference because it makes the room look fresh and clean. They're taking out all the nail holes. Where I've come in and I've had to bring big artwork to cover where they had probably 10
Mm.
pictures over the sofa. It looks like a dartboard. And I'm trying to bring big art to cover all that since they didn't get it painted. So things like that you have to take into consideration, you
Yeah,
know.
it's a lot of
Um,
details. Some
yeah,
for sure.
but painting it the right color, not just getting something they think, because it has to go with the carpeting and the cabinets and the woodwork and the flooring. So yeah, it's just painting it any color. And even stark white isn't great because it could look too clinical. You know,
Mm.
if they have like white woodwork, I say go a different tone so the woodwork stands out and you notice all that, you know, um, because woodwork is a special extra on homes and you want it to stand out because that's extra.
Yeah, I did have someone that they redid a house, and there's just a whole lot of white.
Uh-huh.
It does look kind of bland for sure when
Yeah.
everything is white and everything
Yeah.
blended together.
Yeah.
So you talked for sure that savings goes a lot more than furniture, but as far as the items go,
What mostly do you include besides, the furniture in the bedrooms and everything?
Okay, it's a completed look. We bring in the furniture, the lamps, the rugs, the artwork, the accessories to go with it, accent pillows. I don't think I'm missing anything. It's a complete look. And I say that artwork is necessary because I've had a couple of clients go, "Oh, I don't want to put the nail in the wall after they paint it." And I go, the art is like the jewelry on the room and it brings everything together. So, and usually my artwork is abstract. It's just bringing the color into the room. That way it doesn't date it or something. I mean, kids' rooms are fun, but like living rooms, I do a lot of abstracts and then that's how I bring in the color. We'll have neutral sofas and accent chairs, um, and rugs. Rugs might have a teensy bit of the color that I'm trying to bring in. And what I try to do is like I might bring in a blue and just have accents around the room and it makes your eye flow, and then having that one color throughout the whole lower level. And people should do that even if and one it's funny when I do consult for people and I come uh probably halfway through my talk with them, they're actually learning about design
Mm.
and thinking about the room in a different aspect and not just placing the furniture there. It's how they arrange the artwork, how, and the colors. And it's sort of interesting. And even on their displays, like their how they arrange things, say on a table or something. And I tell them because I used to also do merchandise display.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
and so I said it has to be a balanced where you have to have the large, medium, and small. So the items to make a triangle and for visually for the eye, like things even some of the mistakes I've seen were like on your mantle to put little 5x7 pictures all across and it just doesn't flow. It'd be better to put on one side of the fireplace like a candle and some greenery and something else. Um, just having them all 5x7 pictures didn't give it any kind of depth or anything. So I, and actually, I have been paid to do people's bookcases professionally. They're again making it balanced and cohesive, and it makes such a difference. Because some of the homes I do, that have the bookcases, it's important because that's usable space and you want it to look great and balanced, you know. Doesn't mean I put 100 books in there. They're usually like again, the three thing where it's balanced. And this large, medium, small, you know.
Yeah,
So
no, that's great.
yeah,
And I think I don't know if you said it, but you do put fake plants in sometimes, right?
yes, yes. And it softens it's bringing something of nature in. Um, and yeah, we can't put real because it dies. And I actually do make floral arrangements for some of the houses.
Oh,
Because I actually did long ago work in floral.
oh,
And so I do, floral arrangements and greenery. And it's just bringing in the nature. It looks fresh, you know. And they make succulents right now in at the stores that look like they're real. It's amazing.
yeah. Yeah, sometimes you have
So
to touch them and say, "Is this
it doesn't look
fake?"
fake, you know.
Yeah. Okay. And I know you talked a little bit about the homeowner still living in the home. So if they are still living in the home at the time of selling, and what if their furniture just everything really needs to go? How would you handle that?
Okay, so when I go through the house with them, we can sometimes rearrange the furniture. Uh, and if the furniture isn't working, I can bring in stuff so it'd be like a partial stage using their items, but making their items look complete. Um, Usually big, huge wraparound sofas don't do. I mean, you can seat 10 people, but it makes the space look so small. So we'll bring in furniture. There's different aspects of partials. And the only thing is, we ask for a deposit if they have children and dog pets,
Mm.
because of damage. But I've never experienced anything that's happened, and we've given back their deposit when we're all done. So yeah, it's rearranging furniture, removing furniture, maybe putting it somewhere else in the house. Um, so we go room by room. And when I do a partial, I send them an itemized list of each room we go through. And I'll say, I'm bringing this, and it's in writing so that there's no confusion. And you're removing this, or we're keeping this. And so each room is itemized like that. And having it in writing in case they forgot what I was talking about, because I figure by the third room, they're overwhelmed. So it helps me to let them know what I'm going to do in each room, so there's no confusion. They can come back and go, well, we're not using this. And I go, no, we're not using that. So it's all in writing. So that's how I
Yeah.
do partials. So it's all squared away. So you can still hear my dogs barking.
It's fine. And so within that too, like sometimes it's keeping what they have but arranging it differently.
Right, right. And bringing even the accessories um into the house makes such a difference. I'm talking even, well, the artwork for sure, accent pillows to make it look soft, setting the table, having a runner on the table, it definitely helps. It's hard to do though, I want to say working offices, because you have all those cords and stuff. So we try to minimize that by like adding baskets with maybe a throw and tuck in all the cords into it, because all those cords look so cluttery in the home offices that are actual working office. So we try to work with that because they're actually using their office. So we do some camouflage things of covering up all the cords and stuff like that, because you got the printer in there and everything else. So it does get junky looking, I want to say, So we have some little techniques to try to clear that up, you know. That's probably the worst room is the working office because it's hard to make
Yeah.
it appealing, you know. I can make when I stage, I'm just bringing in a desk, a lamp, some books, a chair, maybe a basket on the floor, but they've got all those components on a working office, you
Yeah.
know.
I mean, they're in there every day, so it's hard to
Yeah.
that way too. Anyway.
It's got all the paperwork and everything. They're laying there, so, and sometimes I'll say, okay, even a basket for that to tidy it up a little, but I think people do understand too, when it's a working office, that there are, you know, clutter, you know.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, to a certain extent, you just want to get a feel for what you got, and as long as you can see the room and it looks
Mhm.
nice,
Yeah.
good to-
Sometimes I'll say, well, can we get rid of that cabinet? Especially if it's hodgepodge kind of thing where they've got a bookcase and then they got a file cabinet. And can we get rid of maybe this piece and move this one over, to make it not look so crammed, you know?
Yeah. So you did talk a little bit about the process, but is there anything you want to add to the process of, from the time the person reaches out to you to the time the home is actually staged?
Yeah, because it depends on their timeline, and most often it's as soon as possible. So I try to get out there and see it. And yeah, there's all those different steps. Just after me seeing it, we have to coordinate because I know the cleaners, then me, then a photographer, and then the agent has to list it. So we try to get it all put together, and usually we're fighting for the weekend, you know, and everybody wants to get it done before Friday so it gets on the market on the weekend. So I know we're all have our schedules. Most often it seems like lately that I don't have 2 weeks ahead of time. They want it as soon as possible. How soon can you get here? You know.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've started to say maybe I start asking my questions differently because I'll ask how soon they want to sell their home, and I'll get plenty of people, yesterday. And then
Yeah.
when I meet with them, they're not ready at
Yeah,
all.
even with my investors, they're trying to hurry it along, and I'll come in and there's still like stuff in the kitchen. I got to put a kitchen table in here, and you got like your paint sprayer here, and so I'll be moving it off to the side. Everybody thinks that they can get it all done. We've been following each other. Like I know I'm like coming in right after the cleaners are leaving. But we all are in the same. We want to get it done. So we try to work with each other on that. Because everybody's on the mindset we want to get this on the market as fast as we can. You know, so yeah, it's and then you sometimes do you have people that are sometimes sort of slow and getting motivated to do the declutter and stuff. I think sometimes it depends um, how motivated they are, and
Right. Yeah.
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 And this is what I do say to sometimes where people aren't motivated. I go, you know, we want to put it on a first site, seeing it, we want it the best. And then I tell them that, and sometimes this happens that they get too personal with the house. And I tell them, right now, this is your investment. And so the best you want to put the best foot forward on this investment you have. This is no longer your house. This is your investment. So you want to make it look the best. And I think putting it in that regards, because sometimes, they still feel like this is my house and I don't want to do this, or, sort of dragging their feet. We want to get it on before this, for
Yeah.
Memorial Day weekend or before 4th of July, for any of those weekends, because just trying to give them a deadline, helps. Um,
Yeah.
and I think trying to tell them that it's not their home anymore, I think helps because, you know, this is your investment. You want the most amount of money out of this property right now, you know. So it's for them to keep thinking that if we clean this room, okay, we're making it look better, you know. So I've had a couple people where they were dragging their feet and didn't want to do this stuff. They like, I like it just the way it is. And like, no, we can make this look better, you know. So there's different clients, you know.
Yeah. Especially they've lived there for a long time and they're really attached still. It's
Yeah,
the whole
it,
thing.
it is. If they've lived even longer than 10 years, they feel like this is their home, but you're going to your next place. And, so you have to depersonalize the experience and,
Yeah. And so, I mean, obviously staging is not a one size fits all. So can you talk about what kinds of packages or forms of
I
staging?
don't do packages
Okay.
because I want it to look at that particular house. Um, I know some stagers do, like they got package A, B, or C. Every house is different, and the rooms, the size of the rooms. Um, uh, so I don't do a package. Uh, I'm going off, like I said, the neighborhood, the city there, and this is a thing too. Okay, I'll go back to that, but the age of the property, how I can make it look the best. Uh, like there's different styles of homes, and again, the paint colors. But city, there's something to be said about different cities. Some are traditional. I'm just going to throw out like Ann Arbor. They mid-century works really well for them. I would not put in a bunch of bling. they just, it's West Bloomfield, Birmingham, Royal Oak. You can put the bling, but it just doesn't work well for like Ann Arbor because they're just, it's a different kind of city. Now there's other cities like Ferndale, Royal Oak. They have quirky. You can do quirky things to the house, to make it stand out, that they like. But I've just seen that there's different areas for different looks, I want to say. Wixom traditional, uh, and then where it's located. I do a lot of lake houses or near um, different areas. We just completed a house that was flipped, and it's right across from Suffrage Air Base. So we wanted to bring that in. So actually, we had an airplane console, and we had a propeller coffee table, and it looked so cool because out the slider, their family room, you see Suffrage Air Base, and you could actually have people that are, in the working there, at the air base, and it would make them think, oh my goodness, look at this. The furniture reminds them of what's out there. If they have a pool in the back, we want to accentuate that with pool towels and something outside. If it's close to an elementary school, I do want to push the, kids theme, like the bedrooms, girl, boy, kids rooms. Whereas in like West Bloomfield, we'll put the other bedrooms more, especially if it's like maybe somebody downsizing, looking at a condo, we make the other bedrooms look like other guest bedrooms and not kids'
Mhm.
rooms. So it all depends on the area that it's in, the city, the whether it's traditional, transitional, mid-century. I've come into some time warp houses, which actually the 35-year-olds absolutely love. So we try to push that, the mid-century look and stuff. Because they like that look. So I can't do a package deal. That's why, because every house has its own kind of feel, and I work from that. So
Yeah, I mean that sounds like the best thing. I had clients recently that it didn't the house needed more work than like that came more important than the staging, right? And
right.
so I said, well, you know, we can still stage the house and it's in an area that is historical. This home has a lot of character. So to get
Mhm.
the right buyer, you'd want to use what you have to attract that buyer, which having some of the older things in that case,
Mhm.
worked
Yeah,
well. And we did
yeah, because
get the
yeah,
right.
we've done older homes before, and you wouldn't want to bring in a super modern looking because it'd be too much off. You want a traditional, because I've done like some houses in Pinckney that are older houses, Northville and stuff. You don't want to go totally modern. You just want to bring it up. Yeah, and some have historical. We've done several houses in the Boston Edison area in Detroit, and um, you want to accentuate that. There's some gorgeous houses in Detroit that were actually mansions, in the day,
Yeah.
that are really beautiful. And so we do try to glam those up, uh, because of the area it's in, Palmer Estates, near the golf course. Now, when we do
Oh,
golf
Palmerwood.
course ones, we try to bring in the golf a little bit, like in the
Oh yeah,
office
that's
space.
cool.
We try to like, because there was a couple houses we did that were off of golf courses, and particularly try to bring it into the office space, golf related items, pictures and stuff like that.
And some
Uh,
people try to
uh,
play golf at work. So
yeah,
yeah.
maybe a glass jar of golf balls to get the idea. Oh yeah, we are on a golf course here, So trying to play in what is around the house, you know. So
Yeah.
it's
Well,
important.
that's awesome. Yeah, because you get some people who don't think about all that at all. They just say, okay, we'll get some nice stuff in here, call it a
Yeah,
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, when you were slightly talking about homeowners that maybe don't want to do all the stuff, staging helps because it maybe hides some of the things that they don't want to do. Again, like painting, or if a floor is really bad, put an area rug. We're not trying to hide it, but just not be in your face. And for me, I don't want the client that's coming through to ever start a list of things they have to fix. That would be my worst thing. We want to, make them look at other things that are positive than things that they have to start a list.
Yeah.
Because that's it, first room they come into and they're like, well, we got to paint this. We got to change this. You just don't want them to start a list.
Right, because by the time they've seen the whole house, they're like, nope.
Oh, yeah. The list is long. I got 10 things, and the husband's like, no, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So it's when my reaction when they first come in the house, and again, staging, I'm always asking which door they're coming in. Are they coming in the front door? Are they coming in the garage? I prefer them come in the front door,
Yeah.
and what they're seeing first and how they're going through that room and what they're seeing. Um, that's important.
Yeah.
Uh,
That's the tone
but
for everything.
yeah, that's why I usually ask, well, usually where the lockbox is, and if it's on the back of the house, I ask them, are you going to bring them through the back door? Because we got to make the first room look great, and I want them to have the feeling when they first walk in the house, oh, I could live here. I feel comfortable. That's what I want my reaction for the client, and one thing is everybody wants this big open space. And I come into, yeah, actually a lot of new builds, and it has to be staged because they're just looking at the big open concept and not, where am I going to put the sofa? Where are we going to put the, kitchen table? They can't visualize it. Everybody wants a big open concept, but then they don't know where to put the furniture. And it helps greatly having that space done, you know.
Okay. And so what is the cost of home staging?
Ours is by square foot, or if there's any problems, like we've staged condos where they're in a high rise and we have to use the elevator. So we might put a more surcharge on because it's going to take longer to get the furniture up there. It's usually, I did have my figures here because that's not necessarily my department.
Oh, okay.
Cousin Bill's who does when we do the proposals. I go, I'm just a decorator. I'm not the business person. But it's usually by square foot, and it's usually 1,500 to 3,500. Okay. And it is geared on the square footage and whether we can get in the property easily, can we back the truck up, there, or do we have to be on the street, different things. Cause like sometimes people have, they put in a new driveway and we can't go on it. So we have to be out on the street bringing the stuff in. It takes a little bit longer. So things like that can change the price of it. And then, I'd say if you don't want to do the full staging, definitely do the consult because even that will make the house look better. And my experience of each room maximizing, because this is one thing I wanted to say about someone that was, they thought they needed to totally clear off everything in the kitchen cabinets. I go, no, you don't. That wouldn't look, it looks too clinical and it doesn't even tell. Like I usually try to make like a little coffee station, where your morning coffee and have the coffee mugs out and stuff like that. So thinking you have to have it totally cleared off is not going to present good,
Right, especially if you have like the
So
bigger cabinets. Yeah, you want to.
yeah, things so that they didn't even think about that. Oh, we should totally clear everything out of the kitchen. No, you don't. And like you want to have place settings maybe at the breakfast bar or the island. So that's one of the things I came upon. I'm like, no, you don't want to do that.
Yeah, and so do you also factor in for cost, like how much stuff is included too?
Yeah. Now when I do like like I said, the console, we'll be opening up their cabinets and using all their stuff. And they didn't even think that they could do that, you know. So try to use as much stuff as they have and then fill in, you know, what they don't, you know.
Okay. And I know you said that you have a deposit if they have kids or pets, but
Yeah.
what if, they don't have either, or, how do
Then
you
it's
factor if they're
like it's
up to
probably 500 if they don't have kids or pets, and it's 1,000 if they, you know, do. And we've never had a problem, you know, and we are insured. So if there is loss or damage, you know, depending on the cost, I mean, if it was just a pillow or something, it's like I can recover it. You know, if it got torn up, I'm like, I can redo this and don't charge them. But usually they're pretty good because they want to keep it in the best condition. You know, I say, when I stage it, I said, you need, and okay, this is another thing when I do the partials and I'll make like the master bed. I said, take a picture of this. It needs to look like this, you know. So that helps some, you know, because I know they're
they're still sleeping there? Yeah.
yeah, they're still sleeping there. They got to make it. So I said, I'll make it look how it should look with, you know, the comforter on the bottom of the bed and about 4 to 6 pillows, you know. And I said, make it look like that, you know, take a picture of it and do it. And it's most important, I said, for the pictures and for open house and when you're doing the showings. So that's when it's got to look great, you know. So yeah, I say take a picture of it to make it look that way when you leave. And some of the things I have told them with bathrooms that they're actually using and living in, I said, you know, that all that stuff does need to be cleared off. All you want is like towels and soap dispenser and maybe a floral arrangement. Um, put all their stuff in a bin. And when they have a showing, just put all the stuff then underneath the sink. And it works out perfect because you don't want to have to try to quickly clean off bathroom sink with all the stuff on it.
Yeah.
And I say the same with the showers and bath stuff. Just have it all in a bin so you can put it under the sink when you're showing. So that's helpful,
Yeah,
you know.
make it very easy, and yeah,
Yeah.
you can have a lot of showings, and that can be a lot of
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Stress. Oh my goodness. We're going to put it all.
So virtual staging. So for people who don't know, virtual staging is when a photographer has included items in the picture so that it looks like the home is staged. When you go to the actual home, there's nothing there. How do
Right.
you feel about virtual staging?
I don't like it. And I've seen it. And actually, we've looked at sites where Bill and I can tell that it's been virtually staged. They cannot do the accessories right. They're not taking into account what the neighborhood is or the city. And those are like computer geeks. They that's what they do, but they're not necessarily designers. Okay. And I've seen where this actually happened too, but they are going into an empty house then, and they're like, what happened to the table that was supposed to be there or the sofa? Um, and I did have this happen to me after they had it listed and it was virtual. They came to me to have it fully staged. They took it off the market, waited a month, put it back on with our staging. But what I saw on the virtual stage was they put the sofa in front of the fireplace. You couldn't tell where that sofa was sitting, but I go, that sofa can't go there because there's a fireplace
Yeah.
right on that wall, you know, that they didn't show. And I'm like, so you couldn't have the sofa in that direction, you know, which really surprised me. I was like, if you know this room, there's a fireplace right behind that sofa. So things like that. And they're not designers. They maybe won't make the bed look real plush, things like that. Um, and I even noticed, like, even on shadows of a room, that
Mm.
it looks off. I it's hard to explain. Um, but you can sometimes tell that it's virtually staged.
Yeah, because you should have some kind of a shadow behind us.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't
the
know if I
light
do that.
coming from it a certain way. So, and again, like which direction you're coming in through. Yeah, they thought you wouldn't notice that the sofa was in front of the way they took the picture, that the sofa was in front of the fireplace. So,
Yeah.
yeah, errors like that. Um, and actually the furniture pieces they put in might not look all cohesive. So, I mean, maybe in 20 years they'll have updated AI. But for right now, it doesn't give a good layout of the house and stuff. I think it's an easy way to put, put it out there, but it when the person goes in the house, they're not going to have that warm, fuzzy feeling, you know.
Yeah, because even though we're supposed to put that this, virtually staged, people don't always know what that means. And they
Yeah,
see it and they're not even thinking beforehand, even with that
yeah,
information that it's not. So it's a disappointment.
yeah,
I don't like when the photographer pictures are like really, really overselling the house and you go there and it's not what you thought it was going to be. So yeah, I don't really like it either myself. I mean, it's almost better if if you're going to do something like that when you go to the house, you have something that you can look through to say, okay, this is how things would look with it versus without.
yeah,
But pictures alone, yeah, it can be a big disappointment
yeah.
because
I think
because
so.
the main thing is you want to see where you can put your stuff, and you're not going to look at the pictures while you're there for the most part. And even if you do, you can't
Right.
really see that this stuff fits, and you know stuff was never there.
Yeah.
Had
And
one
it
before.
depends on the photographer too that you do have for the pictures. I've had some more high priced, I would say, houses, like they do the aerial view and everything. And then again, here we're going to curb appeal, where I have actually staged the front porches and stuff, with outdoor furniture and planters and stuff like that. Not live plants because if they're not going to water them, but I'll do silks that are out in the front. So having a good photographer for the makes a big difference too. They can add different things to it. I mean, it's pretty cool seeing the aerial view of the property.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that would work well even at a house that's smaller. Then they sort of get the feel of the neighborhood, too. So that's another aspect of the photography, another extension.
Yeah, no, I usually get those when like, okay, you got the golf course nearby, you got the water
Yeah.
view,
Hmm.
or you want to see that it is very secluded. Those are
Yeah. Yeah, it
definitely
has a lot of
questions to
green, a
have.
foresty area around it. Yeah, it gives them another dimension of the house and its setting, but like I said, even curb appeal, we have done stuff for outside as well, because you want that to look good too.
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of people they feel like if I'm driving by, it looks like this on the outside. Inside, it's not going to be
Yeah.
what I.
Yeah. Maybe putting the mulch down is one item. And doing mulch makes a big difference. It looks finished, so besides the painting inside, don't forget the outside a little bit, you know. So
Yeah. No, I've even seen it one time where I guess they removed the furniture after it was on the market for so long, and they posted the pictures in the rooms of how it looked before, and I think we could have done without that. I mean, I could see like, okay, you want to have something versus nothing. So yeah,
yeah,
in those cases, virtual staging might be helpful, but and depending on the buyer, it could actually not help,
yeah,
be a deterrent
yeah,
because you're not getting what you thought you would come looking at.
yeah, yeah. Because and one realtor said this to me, because they said, well, where you put the sofa, my clients were sitting down and seeing the room around, so another step of if they sit down in the property,
It really lagging. Yeah.
they're licking it, they feel comfortable, and if you go into a virtual stage, you're not going to be sitting on the sofa
There's nowhere to sit.
talking about the house.
Oh, and that's another point too, is like
Yeah,
besides just selling the house more, Just like when you have heat on, you don't have heat, or you have the AC
Oh,
on, you don't have the AC.
yeah. Yeah, you got to make
It
it
you
comfortable for
want
them.
people to be in there longer if they want to, not hurry up and
Yes.
leave and forget what they looked at and just X out that house.
Yeah. I think it's like another step to selling the house if you can get them to sit down in it and talk about it. It just gives them another feeling closer to the property. You know, it's like that thing with stores, like if you get the person in, then if the person could touch something, then you're closer to the sale. They're not just going in, walking out. If you can get them that one step closer, feeling comfortable, I think it's one more step to this sale.
Absolutely, because it's a big decision for most people. So,
Yeah.
okay. Now, is there any time that you would say home staging is not a good idea?
No. Even if they don't want to do the whole entire house, just have the main level done so it looks great. I mean, I tell people myself, I got even my house, when I go to stage it, I'm staging it. It's there's a difference between living in a house and having it for a potential buyer. You know, living in a house, you want it comfortable, you want lots, you might have the oversized sofa or whatever. And actually I could give a thing. We bought our house, like I said, we lived out in the Pacific Northwest. Um, we bought the house and it was unstaged and it had been on the market for 6 months. Nothing. And I could see the potential. And then when we were going to go sell it, when we were coming back here to Michigan, I staged it and I got over the asking. And we definitely got our money back uh on that, but it just looked so much better staged and everything. Even the closets, like having them empty, where I had like all my purses in a row and stuff like that, it just looked so much nicer and we got over the asking. So I think you can get more possibly that could have that potential. Oh, this is another thing I want to mention. Staging the house is far less than your first price reduction. You should, if you can't sell it, I get it staged, and then maybe in a month do the price reduction, because not giving it a chance like that, and because your first reduction is far more than our staging would cost. So I
Good point.
definitely, yeah, don't do the price reduction. Try staging it, you know, put out some new pictures, you know, and then put it, on the market, because it makes a difference.
Okay. Now, is there anything else you want to add?
Um, no, I love doing it
I can tell.
because when sometimes we've gone into some houses that, sort of sad, and there might be a workman or something that comes through and you go, wow, I didn't know it could look this good. And oh, I have had the comment where they're going, maybe we don't want to move, like, well, no, that but your next house can look this good,
Yeah.
you know, because they don't realize how much it makes a difference, because just sad walls and stuff, not bringing it to life. And we put the furniture in there and like, wow, I wouldn't mind living in here, but without it, it just looks cold, and I just enjoy that so much because I'm making a house look like a home, for a person, and giving it its full potential, that's why, it's like playing house every day. I get to make it look beautiful, and each house is different, and that's what I love about it. It's now I will throw out that I've done so many things in my life that I am well versed I'm actually an artist.
Oh,
People don't know, and some of my artwork is actually in the homes. Some are originals, and some, if they looked up my full name, Maureen Lisa Costello, they'd see my artwork on Overstock and Wayfair and
okay.
all that. And a lot of it's like whimsical, because I've had my artwork in Walmart and Kroger's. I did Kurt Adler ornaments, done LTD catalogs. So I've done a lot of artwork. I also sewed and actually had my own pattern company
Hmm.
and sold my patterns to Simplicity. So, and then I worked for a company long ago that my designs were on QVC.
Oh,
So I just love art and design and making something look better, so I have a lot in my my talents, that and like I said, floral arrangements and merchandise display, anything art. Don't ask me the business part. When you ask me the numbers, like, oh,
yeah. Usually arts and
that's
people are
Bill.
not
That's
business
Bill who
yet.
does that, because I don't want to do the numbers and all that. We just want to decorate, make the house look great. And that's how we work compatibly very well. He's the business person, I'm the design person. So, you know, takes two to make a business.
Yeah, I mean, usually things go best when people are doing what they love. So,
Yes, and I absolutely love making something beautiful, you know. That
okay.
people might not have thought there was any chance. And we do a lot of small houses, and it looks fantastic when we're done, you know.
Yeah, I've definitely seen some small houses stage, and it really does make a big difference of how many offers or how fast
Yeah,
it goes.
yeah.
So if someone's interested in staging with MLC Designs, what's the best way to reach out to you both?
Yeah, to reach out to Bill, because he does all the phone calls,
Okay.
because usually I'm in the middle of staging or destaging a house. And they have his number. And then he sets up the appointment for me to see it. And then we go from there for the proposal. And in our proposals, I will say this, we do have it like sometimes where we'll have, main level, all the bedrooms. I usually say if it's a bigger house over 2,000 square feet, you want to do the main and the primary with the ensuite, if it has an ensuite. Those are the
Main thing.
kitchen and the primary are the most important rooms of the house. So we definitely want to cover those. Sometimes maybe not a covered porch or things like that. So we'll have different items if they want to do the whole thing or they want to do partial of things too. So, if their cost is, determined on what they want to do, I want them at least to get the main part staged, you know. So if you don't want to do the whole thing, uh, this is what this will cost. So,
We just do
yeah.
the main things. Okay. And then should they call? Should they email? Go to the website? What's the best way to reach?
Yeah, they can go any of those. For Bill, yeah, we have our website. We even have Facebook page that we put all different houses, not just the big ones. We show the small ones too. So you could connect with Facebook. So those are email, call, Facebook, and website.
Okay. And you want to provide those so that people can know how to
Oh,
reach?
sure, sure. Bill's number is 248-459-8363. And then, I'm going to get it wrong on the Facebook page, but MLC Designs, I believe it's Inc. That you could reach it.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for your time. I hope everyone learned a lot about staging today,
Yeah.
and hope everyone has a good day.
Yes, you as well. Thanks so much.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye-bye.